United Kingdom, the UK, and Uber got one mighty slap down today. This hurts, my friends. This hurts. And for all those people that attack me on my stock predictions, right? I have news for you. This company will always remain in lawsuits after lawsuits after lawsuits. And this one, highest court of the land, where the Queen, Her Majesty the Queen, said, no, Uber, you better take your model and shove it, right? So Uber drivers are workers, not self-employed. Supreme Court rules. They're workers. They're not self-employed or independent contractors. Unlike what happened here in California, they buy the vote, right, with Proposition 22 and $208 million in the UK. They got the royal UK slap down. Yes, the Queen has spoken, and she said, take your model and shove it, lads. Ibra Ali, God save the Queen. I love it, brother. How are you? Muhammad Khalil. Woo! Greetings. So, huge. This is a huge victory for drivers. And I just want to really compliment the two drivers who had a spine, Yassine and James, right? Those are their first names. They got in there. They got in the ring, just like I love getting in the ring with Uber. They had a great attorney. In the UK, they don't call them attorneys. They have another name for attorneys or lawyers. I'll get it just now. Somebody can maybe help me. Ian Mash, how are you? So congratulations. As you can see, the sign says gig workers win. There it is. Gig workers win. Right? Solicitors. Yeah! Ibra helped me out. Thank you. Solicitors. They're called solicitors. They're not like soliciting your business. No, they're solicitors in the court. Ron Deutsch, barristers and solicitors. That's it. We have it all. We've got it covered in the UK, right? So Uber drivers must be treated as workers rather than self-employed. The UK Supreme Court has ruled. So I'm looking at two articles. I'm looking at the BBC. I'm looking at Wall Street, sort of bouncing back and forth. Wall Street's got a pretty cool video. Let me just play it for you quickly. London's Transport Authority said Friday it won't reissue a private car hire license to Uber, saying it found the company unfit to hold such a permit. What happens to the stocks? Stocks go down, right? And this, my friends, is not the first country and the first city, right? There's more to come. There's a lot of countries that are going to say, sorry, you better start paying in. And for those people pumping up the Uber stock, pumping it up and attacking me online, this is what happens all the time, folks. Just as you think you're getting ahead, just as they think they're getting ahead, boom, they slap down again. Why? Because under the culture of Travis Kalanick and Dara Khosrowshahi going out there, lighting all the fires, pissing off all of these courts, not complying with the courts, well, they got struck down here. To understand what impact this would have on London, good one for Paul Firth.
On the most basic impact
Love that accent.
On my work,
most basic.
my job is obviously my takings. So since Uber came into London in 2012, I think my takings have gradually gone down by about 40%.
40%.
Yeah, they're allowed to operate in London until the appeal process runs out. So once the appeal process is finished,
today,
if Transport for London won that case, they will have to stop operating in London. For me personally, it will bring my takings up again. I'll be able to get around the city a lot easier. Impact for Uber drivers, it will mean that they will have to go back into private hire operators, the smaller operators, which is no bad thing because the smaller operators know the drivers. They will know the drivers and they will have a comprehensive check of those drivers. But there was no thought about taxi drivers' jobs when Uber came in 2012. So I find it quite galling that all of a sudden we now have to care about 40,000 drivers losing their jobs when thousands of taxi drivers and private hire drivers have lost their living.
So that's from a taxi driver.
I got a couple of customers today, and they said, I mean, just an hour ago, they said, "Oh, it's gonna be sad. We don't want to miss a Uber. We still want to use it. How to get the cab, let's say, from Soho to Heathrow, if there's no Uber, or just because the black cab is so expensive." I don't have any additional jobs at all. I'm doing Uber. I'm doing Uber like full day, full-time job. I don't have any other part-time jobs or whatever. I'm working between 8 to 10 hours in a day, and that's it.
London Bridge.
It's not just about me. It's about, they said, 40,000 drivers. And it's a lot of people. They're going out in the street. I'm worried about it just because the one that if the license, I mean, the license finished in 30th of September, but if the Uber can't appeal, I need to stop immediately. I need to be prepared before that. I don't know exactly how it's going to be. So I've been worried about it, actually.
There it is. So Ian Mash is in the house. It said the message retracted. I didn't retract it. Must have been YouTube. Las Vegas Live. Hi, Prof. What would that mean? Reduced hours and schedules to follow for drivers? Well, they're going to literally have to change the entire model now, right? And they probably have to pay a lot of back pay. As we'll go into this article, they will owe these people even paid for the paid leave, holiday leave, all these hours, right? So it's going to cost Uber dearly in the UK. What happens to those drivers? My guess is they will move on to other jobs, maybe back into the taxi business, shuttle business. But, before Uber comes up with a model that will comply with UK regulators, there's some time that's going to go by. They literally shut down. They shut down now. And they had all the time in the world to adjust or say, hey, and maybe they did. Maybe they in the background, they had their engineers already working on a UK model that would comply, right? But this ruling is the highest ruling in the land, the Supreme Court. And they said, no, we're not going to have it, right? They're workers. They're not self-employed independent contractors. It was an identical issue to California, only in Uber's case, they won in California and they lost in the UK. Jay Mill says, no one knows what it will mean. Uber in the UK will have to redevelop the app. Exactly, that's what I just said. They're going to have to redevelop their app and comply. Just like you saw that guy was on an app, on a taxi app. The first guy that was talking, he was on a taxi app, right? Well, they're in full compliance, right? They pay into the system. They have an app. So if anything, maybe Uber goes out and acquires an existing infrastructure, maybe like that My Taxi in the UK. Maybe they buy that, and then they plug their model in and plug their drivers, and that would, to me, would make the most sense for Uber to operate maybe under a different license, under a different name, and acquire something for a few $100 million or a few $1 billion to get back in there. But this is going to hurt them. This is going to hurt their bottom line. So you sort of understand why they never get to the profit line, because it's setback after setback after setback after setback, and usually it's a big legal setback. Right now, yesterday I made a video which was very interesting. Before I dive into this story, a lot of these class action law firms are now turning to you and say, you know what, Uber is offering you $2,500. And these are settlements for misclassification dollars. Same issue that went on here in the UK. You don't accept $2,500, folks. You don't accept $2,500. That's a slap in the face, right? That's a Mickey Mouse offer, a blanket offer that they're making thousands of drivers. And you've got to turn around to your attorney and say, no, go fight for my money, right? So these guys will now be fighting for their money, and Uber's going to have to cough up in a massive, massive way. Ian says it's a win for drivers, and we won't more changes, because here in Kenya, the pay is low, a race to the bottom. Bolt followed, putting 1,300cc and 1,000cc cars in one category with low pay. See, they're probably a smart move by Bolt, right, against Uber in Africa, right, in Kenya, exactly. Where are you, in Mombasa or Nairobi? Where are you, Ian Mash? Las Vegas Live, could Uber change drivers an admin fee to help with extra costs? Are you talking in the UK or are you talking in the United States? If you don't mind clarifying. So the ruling could leave the ride-hailing app facing a hefty compensation bill and have wider consequences for the gig economy. And when I say wider consequences for the gig economy, I think what a lot of other countries, even South America, Africa, Europe, throughout Europe, a lot of these countries are going to say, you know what? This is the way to go, right? We got to bring the legal issue to the table. They will fight it like crazy in every country, probably lose, because you can't just go out like in California and buy yourself a vote, right? Buy yourself lobbyists, pay the NAACP, pay Mothers Against Drunk Driving to help you buy your vote, right? You can't do that in Europe and other countries, right? So it's going to be interesting, but I foresee more of these problems coming. And again, for those people saying that the stock is going to go up and up and up, I have news for you, because it's these setbacks that you're not taking into account, right? It's these legal losses that are creeping up again and again and again. Las Vegas Life UK, charge drivers an admin fee to help pay for extra costs. Yeah, I mean, I think Las Vegas Life, I think what they will do is, like in the beginning of that video, that gentleman was driving for that app. I think it was called My Taxi or My Taxi UK. They will look at that model, and they would literally have to model their new app around that, right? So Dan says America should lead by example until we organize a combined effort. Time is passing quickly. So true, so true. The taxi industry for years refused to adapt to technology, and that's why Uber and Lyft have metastasized as large as they have, but with no true competition. They can use their lobbying power in the United States. That again is a powerful statement made there, and also very true, because the taxi industry really stood by, right? They stood by while these guys were infiltrating their markets and doing what they wanted to, right? It's those taxi organizations that should have, like, from city to city, taken on those big boys, right? And I tell you, if there were 100, 200, 300, 400 lawsuits filed by taxi organizations around the world, Uber would change its tone very, very quickly, because they can't fight that type of mammoth battle, right? Here they do sort of one big battle at a time. But if they get hammered now, if the word gets out like, oh, wow, the UK slapped them down, we need to go after them, right? There's bigger things to come. And again, I have zero faith in their stock, zero, right? Some other people may argue otherwise. J. Mel says, this swaying policy because they are capable and able in the United States. If there was a true third competitor here that can garner market share, it would change. And I'm always hoping that there are more competitors in the market. You know, that's why we're pushing for this co-op, right? Pushing for getting funding and grants and government funding for the co-op, so we can show up as a third contender. They do need a third contender. Nairobi, Kenya. Good to see. I've been there several times. Great place. Now, in long-running legal battle. Uber had appealed to the Supreme Court after losing 3 earlier rounds. They lost a lot of money, obviously, as well. Uber's share price fell 1% on Wall Street, open as investors grappled with what impact the London ruling could have on the firm's business model. Right, I already mentioned that. If I look at the stock price, it's even going further down right now. It's even going further down, right? It's right there at then. It's going further down. It was on 60 something, now it's on 58. This is not good news for Uber. And I don't like, when the pandemic is over in the future, hopefully in the near future, the food delivery market where they're generating a lot of money, that's going to start, fading away, right? So people will go out again, they'll go dining. And the rideshare market is already down 50%. A lot of those drivers have moved on to other jobs. A lot of those drivers have taken on other work with Amazon Flex, gone out, they've done a degree, they're moving on. So the future for Uber and Lyft doesn't look great. I say milk it while you can. Rideshare Warrior Rick says it's a reflection of really not the fantasy of the investors. Exactly. It's like, this is not what they fantasized, that's for sure. They were not sort of anticipating that market after market would slap them down. This is a big slap down. This is their biggest international market, is the UK, especially London, right? So, here in the United States, got San Francisco, New York, Los Angeles as their 3 biggest markets. Well, that market in the UK today just got shut down. Dan says, my former taxi company computerized their dispatch technologies over 25 years ago. They still failed to service the public 5%, 20% of the peak high demand periods of demand. Interesting. So it's being challenged by its drivers in multiple countries over whether they should be classed as workers or self-employed. So as I said, Uber, many other countries, many other cities will follow in these footsteps. In the US, California voters passed a measure called Proposition 22 that will see freelancers' work continue to be classified as independent contractors in November, overturning a landmark labor law passed in 2009. So in the United States, at least, in their top markets, Uber's probably thinking today, wow, huge loss for us in the UK. We better push Proposition 22-like proposals in other cities very, very quickly, right? We better lock those cities down before they, before the lawsuits grow out of control, before we have to defend. So maybe let's rather go on the offense and push these Proposition 22-like proposals in Houston, in Miami, right, in all these other states. So I think that's where they're going to spend a ton of money in 2021, is they're learning from this, and they don't like playing defense. They like lighting the fires. They like stirring the pot. They like causing the trouble, right, a la Travis Kalanick, a la Dara Kay. But when this happens, it's a big wake-up call. So massive achievement. Former Uber drivers James Farrar and Yasin Aslam, can I hear a whoop whoop, who originally won an employment tribunal against the ride-hailing app giant in October 2016. So they've been sticking to their guns since 2016, told the BBC that they were thrilled and relieved by the ruling. This is like the David and Goliath story, the classic David and Goliath. 2 Uber drivers take on a big company and win, right? And you say it's not, there's so many, I've met so many naysayers over the years. Oh, it's not possible, could never, we're not going to make a difference. 2 drivers made a difference, folks. 2. In the whole UK, 2 drivers made all the difference. So don't tell me we got the power. We don't have the power. We do have the power. Got to believe in yourself and brawl and fight and battle and don't give up. These guys, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, they stuck in there and won. I salute you, right? And this should be a lesson to all those naysayers who say, it cannot be done. Nothing will change. Yeah, 2 drivers changed the UK model. Ian Mash, where did your small tour? I got it here. Right? So, let's do a symbolic, why not? Let's do a symbolic UK flush. UK Uber, off you go. Boy, UK Uber. Boy, Her Majesty the Queen has spoken. Now pull the plug. There we go, you little turd. You little shite, you little shit. Good boy. Goodbye, Uber UK. Right, there we go. So that's what happens when you F around and you show the middle finger to the courts. I think it's a massive achievement in a way that we were able to stand up against a giant, said Mr. Aslam, president of the App Drivers and Couriers Union, ADCU. We didn't give up. See, I just said this. We didn't give up, and we were consistent. No matter what we went through, emotionally or physically or financially, we stood our ground. Now that, my friends, is a true warrior. That, my friends, is the DNA of a true warrior. Listen to this. We didn't give up, and we were consistent, right? Apply this formula in life. Everyone, Dan, Rick, Las Vegas Life, Ian, everyone, Jay Mills, apply this formula and say, I didn't give up. I was consistent. And no matter what I went through, emotionally or physically or financially, I stood my ground, right? You could modify that saying and adopt that saying for yourself. I didn't give up. I was consistent. And no matter what I went through, emotionally or physically or financially, I stood my ground. His statement goes a little bit differently. We didn't give up, and we were consistent. No matter what we went through, emotionally or physically or financially, we stood our ground. And I'm sure they were threatened, and I'm sure they were harassed, and I'm sure their families' lives were harassed, because this is what big bullies do. Uber appealed against the Employment Tribunal decision. Dan, thank you, brother. Yo, 7-11. 7-11. Thank heaven. 7-11. Thank heaven for winners, for the winners. Yeah, I love it. Thank you. Jimmy's in the house. R. Phillips in the house. It's about, I like it. Philip says, it's about time Uber got a slap down. Been a long wait. You're doing a great job. I love it, man. Listen, I am so proud of these individuals because 2 guys did it. 2. Freaking cool. All right. So the ruling, thank you, Dan. I appreciate you. The ruling on Friday was Uber's last appeal, as the Supreme Court is Britain's highest court and has the final say on legal matters. So I'm sure guys like Tony West was sweating balls. I'm sure a guy like Derek Koshashawi was sweating, couldn't go to sleep last night, had a rough night. His wife, no matter what she tried, she couldn't calm him down because honey, we're going to find out in the morning if we win or if we lose. It's okay, honey, go to bed. You need some sleep. Honey, I'm nervous. Tony West, baby, I can't go to sleep, man. I have a bad feeling about tomorrow. And they woke up, and what happened? Oh my God, their world got flipped freaking upside down. Tony West slapped down. Dara Koshashawi slapped down. That's it. And then Lyft goes, that's why we didn't go to London. That's why we never opened up in the UK, because we did not want to get slapped down. Paul Figueroa, that should be a double flush. A real David and Goliath. Let's give them a double flush, man. we gave them one flush. Let me find another. Let me find double flush. I'm doing this one for Paul. Double flush. Double flush. Off you go, double flush. That was a stubborn one. I had to flush in one more time. There we go. Yay for the drivers, says Ride Sharing 101. I love it. Yay, victory for the drivers. Man, I'm proud of these dudes. Listen, hit me up, you two. I want you on the show. I want you to tell the people what it was like fighting for 5 years, right? Come on my show. I'm so mega proud of these two warriors that stood up, David and Goliath. David and Goliath, the true story from the UK. Two drivers took on an entire company and beat them down. Delivering his judgment, Lord Leggett said that the Supreme Court unanimously dismissed Uber's appeal, that it was an intermediary party, and stated that drivers should be considered to be working not only when driving passengers, but whenever logged in to the app. The court considered several elements in its judgment. Number one, Uber set the fare, which meant that they dictated how much drivers should earn. We know that one, don't we? Uber set the contract terms and drivers had no say in them. We know that one as well. Dan, 7 to 11, 7-11, 7-11, 7 up. Hold the ice, 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 baby. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Ice, ice, baby. We're on a roll in the UK. We're gonna implement this in other countries. Ice, ice, baby. Ring, digga, ding, digga, ding, ding. There we go. So Uber monitors a driver's service through the star rating and has the capacity to terminate the relationship if after repeated warnings this does not improve, right? That's that like pressure, that control, that manipulation of the algorithm. If you do not follow my, if thou don't follow my rules, I shall slap thou down. I shall terminate thou. I shall wrongfully deactivate thou. Well, go screw yourself. You just lost. Looking at these and other factors, the court determined that the drivers, oh, by the way, it also says request for rides. Request for rides is constrained by Uber, who can penalize drivers if they reject too many rides. Listen to that. Don't we know that lingo, right? But no, California said it's okay. Let them get away with bloody murder. That's what California said, right? But in the UK, at least they recognized, they said that the request for rides is constrained by Uber, who can penalize drivers if they reject too many rides. It should be my right. It should be Chris's right. It should be Ian's right. It should be Rick's right. It should be Dan's right. It should be Las Vegas Life's right to deny a trip, right? We should be able to reject that trip. No, you know what? I feel unsafe. I don't want to take this trip. No, that trip is too far. I don't want to take this. This trip is taking me in the wrong direction. No, I don't want to take this trip. No, but what instead they did is they constrained and penalized the drivers. And the UK court said, no, shit ain't gonna fly here in the UK. You might be getting away with that in the US. You might be doing that in California, but not in London. In London, you can't do that, all right? So take your bags, get on the next plane, and get the heck out of here, right? So there we go. That's how it works. Looking at these and other factors, the court determined that the drivers were in position of subordination to Uber. So the courts acknowledged that the drivers were in subordination, right? And sort of that's where I feel like very let down by California voters is that they bought into that BS psychology of Proposition 22, not knowing, right? Not knowing that Uber puts us in the position of subordination, right? So the California citizens, 58 to 42 ruled, Uber, we grant thou, not in the UK, my friends. Not in her former country, not in his former country. They both out in Hollywood right now. Right, Harry and Meghan, they both in Hollywood. But I tell you what, more trouble to come. More trouble to come. Since then, we have made some significant changes to our business, guided by drivers every step of the way. These include giving even more control over how they earn and providing new protections like free insurance in case of sickness or injury. Really, Uber? Jamie Haywood, Uber's regional and general manager. Sweetheart, or I don't know, it's a guy or a girl, Jamie Haywood. Wake up, dude. You just got a royal slap down. And now let's spin, let's blaming game, right? Blame. For Northeastern Europe said, we respect the court's decision, which focused on a small number of drivers who used the app in 2016. Okay, so that's your excuse, right? That's how they want to spin it. We are committed in doing more and will now consult with every active driver across the UK to understand the changes they want to see. Oh, really? Let's read this comment out from Jamie Wood, right? Today, they got slapped down in the UK court and they say, this is the statement. We are committed to doing more and will now, after 10 years of bullying, 10 years of exploitation, 10 years of algorithmic manipulation, right? We will now consult with every active driver across the UK to exactly understand the changes they want to see. Alex Rosenblatt, right? You guys know her. No time for Uber. Dustin's in the house. No time for Uber in the UK, right? So Alex Rosenblatt, right? She is the new director of better treatment for drivers. So Alex, why don't you just go and call your UK friends, right? You call them up and you say, look, active drivers, we are committed to doing more, and we will now consult with every active driver across the UK to understand. I, Alex Rosenblatt, would like to understand the changes you'd like to see, because I would like to start treating you better. You know why? Because I need that freaking UK permit. I need that UK permit back. My name is Alex Rosenblatt. I was just freaking hired by Uber. This is me. This is my statement. Go fuck yourself. What did Uber argue? Uber has long argued that it is a booking agent which hires self-employed contractors that provide transport. By not being classified as a transport provider, Uber is not currently paying 20% VAT on fares. And by the way, business. John, how are you?
Great. How are you?
Excellent, sir. How goes it?
Good. It's going well. I'm up in Berkeley or Oakland right now.
Okay.
But I understand from my office that the shipment did arrive. A few minutes ago.
Okay.
So I was curious, how early or how soon would your guys be able to? I don't have the stickers.
Oh yeah, we need the. Can they print the stickers for the COVID tests or whatever?
No, it's on my computer.
Okay.
Shoot, yeah, the QR codes.
I think.
Okay, so.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I think we can do 2,000 today.
Yeah, good.
So that you have 2,000 tomorrow, and then I think we can do another. We can do another 8,000 by Tuesday. I don't think we will be able to do the full 15,000 by Tuesday. So,
understood.
But
okay.
if you could maybe, and we'll try. If we get 10,000 done, I'll give you sufficient warning maybe on Monday or so and say, hey, I'll pick up another 1,000 or 2,000. But I'll get the whole crew on it, and we'll all work on it. I'll get all 6 people on it right away. And you need.
I will be at the office. I have to drop off the swabs that I'm collecting up here, or that I collected, and drop them off in Thousand Oaks. And then I will be at the office maybe. Like I said, I could stop by the house and pick up my neighbor's pickup, and bring them over back to the house.
Oh, they have your neighbor.
You.
Your neighbor has a few thousand, or what?
No. My neighbor has a pickup truck that I can use to bring the boxes to the house, and I was thinking of just having them all in my garage.
Okay.
And distributing them that way.
Okay. Because I can more than help you. The Cadillac, when I put the seats down, and we'll get those 15 boxes in there, no problem.
Great.
Why don't you call me when you land?
Yep.
And then do you have somebody picking you up at the airport? Are you good there?
No, I drove.
Oh, you drove. Okay. And then the moment you touch down in Calabasas, I'll meet you, pick up. I'll help you pick up, bring the 15,000 across, and then I'll take 2,000, get them ready for tomorrow, and then we'll get another. Let's say, yeah.
Yeah, I just have to go to Thousand Oaks first to drop this briefcase off at a lab, and then I'll be back to the office. So it'll be about 2:45, 3 o'clock.
Okay, and then we also need a blue. We got the white caps. We'll need the blue caps, and then we'll need enough sheets of the antigen and the PCR.
Right. That's correct. I will have to print that, and once I get going on the printing, I can print 30, 50 sheets.
Yeah.
We
can get going
uninterrupted. So.
Okay. Cool.
And then I think it would be perfect for you to stop by, because then I can give you the boxes
and the
labels.
Absolutely. Right? Okay. I'll communicate. Just all communication today, and we'll get it done.
We'll be all over it.
Thank you.
Awesome.
I appreciate it, my friend. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
So good news. So we doing big contracts for these COVID test tubes around the country. We just supplied 8,000 to all the top college sports stars, NFL. We've got another contract for 15,000. So you keep your hands in many. So that this is the guy that I coordinate with, and then we get the test tubes, we label them, antigens, PCRs, and then whoever needs them, boom, we have our production crew finish them up, and then we ship them out overnight to various where we can test, and keep, contribute. It's a great contribution in helping getting COVID. So I feel like getting a lot of people involved, even the kids, right, to contribute, to actively do things to help people get down those COVID numbers whilst making money, right? So again, this is the big one. This is Uber's statement in response to the UK slapdown. We are committed to doing more, and will now consult with every active driver across the UK to understand the changes they want to see. Okay, let me rephrase that for the United States, right? Jamie, what's this person's name? This regional general manager of Uber, Jamie Hayward, how about you adopt this language? Alex Rosenblatt, how about you adopt this? Because we're not going to come back and support you. We'll move on to better and bigger jobs if you mistreat us. So why don't you adopt this type of language? We are committed to doing more. We are committed to doing way more, and will now consult with every active driver across the United States of America to understand the changes they want to see. Why is it that you will now only want to see what the UK drivers want? So I want that language, Alex Rosenblatt, right? I want you to adopt that language, because you apparently were hired for the treatment of better drivers, for drivers. We are committed to doing more, and will now consult with every active driver across the United States of America to understand the changes they want to see. And then we will tell you what the changes we want to see. We want better pay. We want to get essential pay during the pandemic. We want unlimited supply of PPE as we need it. We want to be paid for the time that we are cleaning our cars. We want a voice at the table. We want some health rights. We don't want to be screwed over wrongful terminations. We want to have a decent insurance plan. So if we do get hit, we don't have to pay you insane deductibles, right? Yassine, is that you, my brother? Is that you, my friend? Just say it. Or are you like the guy that I'm most proud of today, Yasin Aslam, says office at ADC, listen, I cannot express what this means to me. Yasin, I cannot express what this means to me, right? It is such an honor to have a warrior in the house. I love you for your tenacity. I love you for your spirit. I love you for your willpower. I love for the fact that you never, ever gave up. Uber versus Aslam. It is beyond an honor to have this, ladies and gentlemen. Give everyone in this room in the United States, give him a shout out. This is the true David and Goliath story. They took on the big boys, and he says he's busy because he has a lot of interviews, and he says, thanks, we can speak. So just the fact that you showed your face here, I respect that. And we will talk soon. Great news. Congratulations, sir. Your name is all over international media. What an honor. Joe Smith, this news explains why the hire Alex. It's the drivers united, you see? So he's not selfish, not saying, hey, it's just not me alone. We did this for all of our brothers and sisters. Cindy Hilburn, there we go. Listen, give them a round of applause. They did it. They hung in there for years and years and years. Listen, give them a standing ovation. I'm not being sarcastic. I mean it. I mean it. They stood up against the bullies of the world, and just a beautiful day. This is one of my highlight live feeds right here to have this gentleman who stood up for drivers. There we go. See that respect and appreciation. 6 years, but we beat them. 6 years, and they beat them. Dude, you're like a freaking Uber guard. Should send you a t-shirt. It is, Jimmy, it's massive applause, right? All of these people are standing up and cheering you along. Dan says, Yashin, thank you. Drivers, real people on the street say thank you. Alex Rosenblatt, Dara Koshashawi, read this. Read and weep, right? Our warriors have stood up and spoken. They stood up against the Dara Koshashawis and the Tony Wests of the world. Slap down, baby. What did Uber argue? Uber has long argued that it is a booking agent which hires self-contractors that provide transport. Well, guess what? Yasin and his crew slapped that one down. By not being classified as a transport provider, Uber is not currently paying 20% VAT on fares. Yasin and his crew brought that up and said, listen, they're not paying into the system. We are all in this together. You know what? What an honor, my friend. I've got your email there. I'm going to leave mine. And then I would like to, when you should go and bathe in your victory. If I can sponsor a bottle of champagne, I'll send it over to London. Just send me your address I'll have it delivered to you. But you deserve to bathe in your success today because you are a warrior. You're like my DNA, right? And that spirit, we're all in this together. It's a highlight. This is a highlight, my friends. This is a big moment here. So there we go, at gmail.com. Just to say that, hey, I brought this lawsuit, right? I brought this lawsuit to the highest court of the land, and I won. It's the classic David and Goliath story, right? We're all in this together. Well, Chris, Yasin says we will do a follow-up. He's super busy, right? He's super busy. But if Yasin is here, and you can call me through WhatsApp just to hear his voice, so we can 393-6318 in the United States. Phenomenal. The Supreme Court ruled that Uber has to consider its drivers workers from the time they log on to the app until they log off. There we go. And how was that brought about? By the gentleman taking them on. Errol Pitter. Thank you, England. We couldn't do it in California. Errol Pitter. We couldn't do it in California. But it's people like Yasin Aslam and his hardcore warrior crew and solicitors and barristers that gave them the royal slapdown. Beautiful. Sparkling apple juice, yeah, the non-alcoholic, whichever way we want to celebrate, right? Dan says, my taxi company took 14 years to finally get rid of me. I'm just now prepared for the biggest fight for our rights. Good. And it's in your DNA as well, Dan. Like, you understand that David and Goliath story, right? Chris Sarnecki says it well. Says, like, put on the bullhorn. Thank you, UK. Thank you for hand standing in there. Round 15, and they're brawling. And then Yassine's got him against the ropes. Yassine's got Dara against the ropes, and he sets him up. He does a fake, and he delivers the uppercut, and Dara goes down, hits the canvas. So, and unanimous with a winner by knockout in the final minute of the 15th round. It is the drivers. Drivers win the belt, the WBC belt. Las Vegas says U.S. corporate business model for employees is work more or less, and the equation has added up. Any thoughts? Glad to be stateside again. Wish I would have heard this while I was in the UK. Hey, Scott, what an honor it was to have the guy in our live stream that took on the big boys, you know. So this is a key point, because Uber drivers typically spend time waiting for people to book rides on the app. Previously, the firm had said that if drivers were found to be workers, then it would only count the time during journeys when a passenger is in the car. This is a win-win for drivers, passengers, and cities. It means Uber now has the correct economic incentives to not to oversupply the market with too many vehicles and too many drivers, said James Farrar, ADCU's General Secretary. The upshot of that oversupply has been poverty, pollution, and congestion, right? The upshot of that oversupply has been poverty, pollution, and congestion. The taxi businesses in the UK will celebrate today. Uber is going to have to go back and rework their model. We got Matthew Vasquez in the house. He says the United States work model is work more or less. Try working at Amazon. Thanks for that feedback, right? And we'll and again, Errol, I like what Errol said here. Thank you, England. Thank you, England. We couldn't do it in California. I'm right here in Los Angeles. We couldn't get our act together. We allowed these monkeys to pay $208 million to buy their vote, to pay for lobbyists, to buy Mothers Against Drunk Driving, to buy the NAACP, whatever it is, I'm sorry, and to buy the vote, essentially, right? Chris says, let's hope for Sarah Biden and Kamala are paying attention to this. J. Mel says, Chris, they don't care. All right, so well, I think they do care today, because let's quick check in on that stock price. We'll call soon. Let's check the stock price. Ooh, it's falling even further. It's falling right at the end there. It's falling. And what are the headlines? I bet you the headlines are, oh, there we go. Look at the headlines there. Uber drivers entitled to workers' rights. UK Supreme Court rules. Check. It's all over. Look at them. There they are. That's him. We just had him on the show. Right? We had him on the show. That's them over there celebrating with their solicitor, with their barrister. George Schneider, the writing is on the wall. US drivers are next. Dan N says, we're not going to take it. We're not going to take it. I don't wanna take it anymore. Dun-dun. Who's that? Twisted Sister? Who sang that? We're not gonna fake it. We're not gonna take it. We're not going to be abused anymore. All together now. We're not gonna take it. We are going to make it. We are going to fight them in every city around the world. Hip hip hooray. Beautiful day. Cool. I'm glad I got this. He goes, oh, this guy says, cool, I should be watching. I love your feed. Jump in. I'll say, jump in. Jump in, say hi. We'll see if we get Craig, who's just starting a limousine company. I'm helping him get all the paperwork and all the facts together. And he's ready to rock and roll. Just texted me. He just got his TCP license, made the applications, the cars, the licensing. He is ready to rock and roll. Chris says, let's hope Biden, Harris are paying attention. Private Platinum. Hi, Torsten. Is that you, dude? Is that Craig? Do I have Craig in the house? Just say Y-E-S. Yes. Got a lot of visitors today. Private Platinum. I think that's Craig. Yep, that's him. Welcome. And we're going to all wish you here success with your new limo company that you put together. Got his checklist. He got his TCP going through Business Rocket. He got his paperwork. He's got his insurance lined up. He's got all his ducks in a row, ready to take that next big, bold move. But Craig and I, Private Platinum, we're going to get on the phone after this live feed. I promised him I'm going to call him right after the live feed, and we're just going to go really over the do's and don'ts, Craig's, right? The really little things that you have to look for, where to spend money, where not to spend money, where you can save money, right? Because the one thing, as we build these businesses and duplicate models, what do? We learn from our mistakes, right? Especially if you make the same mistake twice and it costs you, like, okay, wow, this is something that you're going to look out for, right? So the do's and don'ts of a limo service, of your own service, obviously you're driving on Uber with that vehicle, you're committed to an expensive vehicle, you're on Uber, you're on Lyft, and now you're setting up your TCP, your private trips, right? So you want all these three cranking. I can tell you that the private sector at some point down the line, 1.5 years from now, will be overtaking these two. So you'll probably in a ratio be doing, 90-10, 80-20, 70-30, 60-40, 50-50, 40-60, 30-70, and then 20-80 in ratio within about 2 years once you've built out your private clientele. Where's the money? It's on that third one here, on the private sector, right? So was it last night? No, the night before, right? I West Hollywood to Malibu, Malibu return, 4 different drop-offs, just under $500, right? Because I got a whole bunch of drunk people back to various spots, dropping off here along the way, Pacific Palisades, West Hollywood, LA, Santa Monica, and then back home. 500. And you are in LA, right? You're in LA, Platinum? You're in Los Angeles. Exactly. Yeah, it is. It is April 1st. I'm just coordinating the dates with Dan, and I'm coordinating the dates with the co-op to see when they want to do their protest, their caravan first. So I don't want to step on their feet as far as a date goes, and then but I'm really shooting for April the 1st, largest Zoom protest, right? And that's just people joining in, hosting Zoom protests, and we'll get a lot of media out of that, right? Sherelle says, do I need a TCP license to drive a wheelchair van outside Uber? Do I need a TCP license to drive a wheelchair van outside Uber? I would guess yes. I would guess yes, because you're doing transportation of individuals for a living, right? Whether they need the wheelchair or not. But I'll look into that for you, sure. I'll ask Alex Janowski on that one. So and then Craig, if when you have your own car and you're following that sort of model that I just said, right? You obviously, like, let's say in the beginning it's a one-man operation, but as you add vehicles, because to get a TCP for your second car, for your third car, for your fourth car, if you want to buy and lease out, right? Those are easy. It's the first TCP license that takes a while, and I'm sure you know how long it's taken you so far to get that TCP, especially during the pandemic. But to add further ones, it goes pretty quickly, right? And when you're starting to recruit drivers, you really want to know, who do you have in your car, right? Who can I trust that individual with my car? Well, you got to have over at least 4.92, 4.95 ratings, right? You got to show me at least 1,000 trips that you've done on any platform, an XL, X, SUV, right? And then, are you willing to have me monitor your driving habits by the sync up, which basically shows me how fast you're going, where you're going, if you're doing any crazy speeding or braking. It all shows up in this report. And the driver needs to understand, when they sign that contract with you, with Craig, is like, yeah, I'm taking the car now. I know that I'm going to be paying, let's say, anywhere from $250 for a small Prius, $350 for a minivan XL, right up to $550 for an SUV for that lease per week. I got to hustle to get that money in for the operator, for Craig, for Torsten, for the operators, right? And then beyond that, whatever I make is in my pocket. But I agree to the terms of that contract that I will not use this as a Formula One or NASCAR. And I am being monitored. I understand that I'm being monitored. Now, if the people bail out to Vegas and go partying, cut them off, right? Your agreement with them is only within California boundaries, or only within certain counties may they drive. And I would say, let's say, from San Luis Obispo all the way down to San Diego. If they have trips that go this way or that way, north or south, that's fine. But if you want to piss off to Vegas, sorry, not with my vehicle. So there's a lot of things that we have to talk about, right? Uber has WAV, right? We have exactly. Rick says, I need to know the same thing, as I might be doing that myself or my cousin and others. Rick, Rick and I meet from time to time. I just missed you in Long Beach the other day. I had to get a couple of more supplies. But if you can get your hands on a vehicle that you can rent, like an SUV, or in Private Platinum's case, which is an amazing name, by the way, Private Platinum, love it. So probably that's Private Platinum LLC, your limited liability corporation name, right? You're in LA, all the clients in the world, Calabasas, Hidden Hills, Pacific Palisades, Brentwood, Beverly Hills, Bel Air. That's where all of your clientele are, right there. Probably giving you just 5 or 6 zip codes, Santa Monica included, Rancho Palos Verdes included, right? Coastal towns, Manhattan beaches. That's where you'll have all your clientele in those high-end zip codes. And you will make the money in LA. I'll guarantee you this. But back to the story. Why are some drivers unhappy with Uber? Why are some drivers unhappy with Uber? This is where Alex Rosenblatt can listen up again. Mr. Aslam, who we had the honor of having on our show today, the gentleman that took on Uber, who claims Uber practices forced him to leave the trade as he couldn't make ends meet, is considering becoming a driver for the app again. Listen to that. He's considering coming in to the app, but under conditions where he can work and he can be honored and he can get the rights he deserves and the money and the payment he deserves. And you know what? Then I will consider coming back. That's noble. That's noble. But I will not stand for what you are serving on my platter. And I'm guessing, I'm using his language right now, right? But I'm guessing that's what went on in his mind when he said, you know what? Uber's practices forced me to leave the trade. However, after this ruling, I would be open to join the app again. But he's upset that the ruling took so long, right? It took so long. It took us 6 years to establish what we should have got in 2015. Someone somewhere in the government or the regulator massively let down these workers, many of whom are in precarious positions today, he said. Uber drivers launched another legal battle over favoritism, right? We'll look at that one as well, that link there. Uber driver evicted from home and left to die of coronavirus. We'll look at that article over there as well in the future. Mr. Farrar points out that with fares down 80% due to the pandemic, many drivers have been struggling financially and feel trapped in Uber's system, right? So instead of in the pandemic times to reward these people with extra pay and take care of them, you know, with your essential pandemic pay, no, what have they done? They've gone in the opposite direction. They've cut. And are they surprised? Is Dara surprised? Is Tony West surprised? Are the investors surprised that so many people are leaving? Mr. Farrar points out that with fares down 80% due to the pandemic, many drivers have been struggling financially and feel trapped in Uber system. We're seeing many of our members earning £30 gross a day right now. He said, explaining that the self-employment grants issued by the government only cover 80% of a driver's profits, which isn't even enough to pay for their costs. If we had these rights today, those drivers could at least earn a minimum wage to live on, right? So they fought for that, they got that, but, you know, that should have been in place years and years and years ago. Ray says, Zona tracking system, we have that one on some of our school buses. It's a snitch device. It is your worst nightmare. You do anything on that bus, it recorded its logs until it's erased. I cannot stand that. See, they're monitoring your driving habits. Chris says, one funny thing about what you just said, it seems like a lot of you that live in that Calabasas, Woodland Hills area, you guys score a ton of privates. It's like I need to move up there to grow. Listen, this is where it's happening. I mean, everyone, I can tell you, everyone, and not everyone, that's a lie, but most of the families in Hidden Hills know me, right? And that's from basketball players to rock stars to CEOs to Jessica Simpson, all there. Like they know me, right? I'm always at the parties. I'm always driving the people. I keep fairly low profile, but I mix it up with them and I have a ton of fun. So like Hidden Hills, for sure, my turf. Then Calabasas, or they call it Parkway Calabasas. People maybe think they're a little bit snotty, a little bit more, but tons of money up there, you know. Kardashians, Bieber used to live up there. Dr. Phil lives up there. All these people, right? That's where you need to be, dude. That's where it is. Calabasas, Hidden Hills. That's the diamond area right there. That's where Craig needs to come and source his clients. And there's spots where you can hang out in your SUV and your Uber SUV or your Lyft Lux, and you just pick them up, right? You pick them up in those areas, and many of those become your private clients. Now, will we pay more for Uber rides? That remains to be seen, but it could potentially happen, right? Will they adjust the riders' rates? Probably will have to. If they want to stand a chance in the UK or get back into the UK, probably will have to raise the Uber rates. Chris says, my black that I lease in that system, when I go to Vegas, I got a phone call and my boss says, oh, never mind, you had a customer. And I replied, stalker. Stalker. So he was watching you. He was watching me. Hello World says, why Uber stock price hasn't moved after you. It has. It was on 60 something. It went down to 58. Do you say it didn't move? It's moved. It's moved down. It's moved down $1. It's moved down. So will we pay more for Uber rides? Remains to be seen. I think it will. When Uber listed its shares in the United States in 2019, its filing with the US Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, included a section on risks to its business. The company said in this section that if it had to classify drivers as workers, it would incur significant additional expenses. I remember that. I read that in compensating the drivers for things such as the minimum wage and overtime, right? That's what they don't want to pay you. They don't want to pay you that minimum wage, and they certainly do not want to pay you overtime, right? They try to get around that. Further, any such reclassification would require us to fundamentally change our business model and consequently have an adverse effect on our business and financial conditions. So you will have to fundamentally change your business model in the UK now. You have no option. Dan says Wall Street and hedge fund managers, 50 billion worth, are artificially supporting Uber stock price. I agree with that one. Still selling their hype to unsuspect. And I have them, by the way, Dan, I have those hypers coming into my channel, and they get really, really, really angry when I start slamming the Uber stock, right? And they pump it, and I just say, dude, you're a fraud. You're just trying to come in and artificially, you work for Wall Street, you work for one of your brokerages, you're coming in here, you're talking smack, you're giving the people false hope. This is a donkey in the race, right? It's a donkey in the race. The donkey will keep on running, it'll keep on going. It'll never be a winner. It'll never be a black stallion racing across the finishing line in first place. It'll be a slow, tired donkey in the race, right? Never really getting, never really getting out of that stock rut. Gets a little bit up, comes back down. A little bit up again, comes back down, right? Uber investors were told they would go driverless and make big money. Didn't happen. They put 2.5 billion into their driverless dream, Travis dream, right? All came crumbling down, right? And they sold that division off. And then the investors like, okay, what do we really have after Uber? Okay, natural progression, cars, EVs, AVs. Are we part of the whole AV movement? Are we in there, Uber? Investors asked that. No, sorry, we sold that division. We sold that division. Hey, are we at least in the drone and in the air transport? Are we still in there? Darren, no, sorry. We sold Elevate. We needed money. We sold the driverless division to Aurora. We needed money. What do you have? What do you have, Dara? Got your wife and your kids. That's it, buddy. On your own little island, paying $2 million to security companies to keep you safe in that little shell because the people fucking hate you, right? Has to pay $2 million to security guards, to security companies, so you can live in that little shell and bully and manipulate people. What a life. What a life. I wouldn't want that life. Not for me, for my family, for my wife. Oh, honey, I got to pay the security company $2 million a year to keep us safe and our kids safe. What a life. That's not a life. So what is the VAT issue? VAT, by the way, is value-added tax, right? You pay it in South Africa, you pay it in the UK, but as we will see from Farah and Aslam, and we had Mr. Aslam on the show early on, Uber also wrote in the filing that if Mr. Farah and Mr. Aslam were to win their case, listen to this, Uber also wrote in the filing that if Mr. Farah and Mr. Aslam were to win their case, HM Revenue and Customs, HMRC, would then classify the firm as a transport provider, and Uber would need to pay VAT on fares, value-added taxes, probably pay up time, probably have to pay a lot of value-added tax. This relates to a judicial review filed by Jolyon Mogam, QC, in 2019. Mr. Mogam, a barrister specializing in tax and employment law, applied to HMRC to ask for a judicial review and that HMRC demand that Uber pay VAT. Let's see what happens about that. I tried to force the issue by suing Uber for a VAT receipt because I thought that that way, even if HMRC didn't want to charge Uber, I would be able to force it to, he told the BBC. The Supreme Court has fundamentally answered two questions at the same time. One is whether drivers are workers for Uber, and the other is whether Uber is liable to pay VAT to HMRC. Probably Her Majesty, the Royal, no, I don't know what does HMRC stand for? What does HMRC stand for? Oh, HM, Revenue and Customs. Probably Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs. Maybe there's money that goes straight to the Queen. Slick Nick's in the house. Dan says, sold by Wall Street as one of the best offerings ever. No, not. Remember, they wanted 65 to 85 at the hyped APO offering. Unreal. In fact, they dropped it down to 68. I think they wanted 100 initially, right? And they dropped it down. And they opened up with 45. They're not way over 45. They're not, right? The food delivery is holding them up. But wait till the pandemic is gone and the food delivery tanks. Watch what happens to the stocks of DoorDash, Grubhub, Postmates, Uber Eats. Just watch. Private Platinum says Her Majesty's Year Revenue and Customs. Yeah, she wants the Queen. The Queen of England wants her taxes. Queen says in Buckingham Palace, Uber, thou shalt pay me VAT, value-added tax, on every single ride, says the Queen. The Supreme Court has fundamentally answered two questions at the same time. One is whether drivers are workers for Uber, and the other is whether Uber is liable to pay VAT. It makes it extremely difficult for Uber to continue to resist paying what I understand to be more than £1 billion, £1 billion to the HMRC. Wow. Robin, Prof, has been a while. We'll definitely watch this on replay. Yeah, you'll be interested in this because they got it slapped down. The Queen's money. The Queen also wants some money. The Queen goes like, Queen calls into the Supreme Court. Hey, you judges, you barristers, you solicitors. I also want my value-added tax, lads. Better make sure I get my value-added tax. What does this mean for the gig economy? Rachel Matheson, Senior Associate of Bates & Wells, which represented Mr. Farah and Mr. Aslam, Power Team, said her firm's position was that the ruling applies to all 90,000 drivers who have been active with Uber since and including 2016. All those 90,000 drivers now. Ka-ching-a-ling-a-ling. It's pay up time. It's pay up time because the legends won the fight. Our position is that the ruling applies to all of the drivers at large. However, we don't think it stops there. The judgment today underscores some very important principles in respect to workers. And what this is going to have is a ripple effect in other countries. Other countries, whether it's Germany, Holland, South Africa, they will look and say, oh, the Supreme Court in the UK, they ruled the following way, and they are getting money. Maybe it's time that we adopted the same attitude. Dr. Alex Wood, an Internet Institute research associate on the gig economy at the University of Oxford, disagrees. He told the BBC that because the UK doesn't have a labour inspectorate, these rules aren't enforced, and it falls to workers to bring subsequent tribunals. This means that in reality, it's very easy for Uber to just ignore this until more tribunals come for the remaining 40,000 drivers. Well, good luck on that, right? The highest court of the land has spoken. Right? And there's several people here that came in late. I do want to play this one again, right? Celebration music. Victory dance. Victory choir.
On the most basic impact on my work, my job is obviously my takings. So since Uber came into London in 2012, I think my takings have gradually gone down by about 40%. They're allowed to operate in London until the appeal process runs out. So once the appeal process is finished, if Transport for London won that case, they will have to stop operating in London. For me personally, it will bring my take-ins up again. I'll be able to get around the city a lot easier. Impact for Uber drivers, it will mean that they will have to go back into private hire operators, the smaller operators, which is no bad thing because the smaller operators know the drivers. They will know the drivers and they will have a comprehensive check of those drivers. But there was no thought about taxi drivers' jobs when Uber came in 2012. So I find it quite galling that all of a sudden we now have to care about 40,000 drivers losing their jobs when thousands of taxi drivers and private hire drivers have lost their living.
I got a couple of customers today, and they said, I mean, just an hour ago, they said, "Oh, it's gonna be sad. We don't want to miss Uber. We still want to use it. How to get the cab, let's say, from Soho to Heathrow, if there's no Uber, or just because the black cab is so expensive." I don't have any additional jobs at all. I'm doing Uber like full day, full-time job. I don't have any other part-time jobs or whatever. I'm working between 8 to 10 hours in a day, and that's it. It's not just about me. It's about, they said, 40.
London Bridge comes falling down, falling down, falling down. London Bridge comes falling down on Uber.
Wonder if the license, I mean, the license finished in 30th of September, but if the Uber can appeal, I need to stop immediately. I need to be prepared before that. I don't know exactly how it's going to be.
Be prepared. So, plan B, plan C, plan D.
I've been worried about it, actually.
Dun, 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 dun. It's like funeral music for Uber in the UK. Again, so this one, Wall Street Journal, slightly, I mean, very much the same storyline, but the UK's, can we have 35 people in the house, please slap, like Dustin says, smack that like button, let's get it up to 35. Much appreciated, which definitely will help the algorithms, the YouTube algorithms, and push this video up. And the reason why I want this video up is I want Dara to see that we had the David who took on the Goliath in the room today. The man himself that filed that lawsuit and brought it to the highest court in the land was in our live feed today, right? And slapped down Uber. It was such an honor to have him here with us, right? Got a lot of applause and a lot of congratulations from me and from, because that's the true warrior. These are the people that never gave up. 2 drivers took on the big bullies, right? Cindy knows. She was one of the first to congratulate them. I saw your clapping emojis. I won't. If I go back, I bet you you were the first one to applaud them, right? Which is amazing. So the UK's top court ruled that a group of former drivers, I call them former warriors, right, for Uber Technologies were entitled to a minimum wage and other benefits while working for the company, dealing a setback to Uber and other gig economies firms around the world battles over the employment model. The UK Supreme Court, in a unanimous decision issued Friday, upheld lower court decisions that granted the group of 25 drivers a type of UK employment status at Uber. The company had appealed those rulings, maintaining that its car service and food delivery drivers are independent contractors without employee rights, right? Tony West, you need to wake up, dude. You need to listen. Never listen. Tony Arrogant West always thinks he's above. Dara Arrogant Koshashawi always think they're above this. They got their royal awakening. The Majesty the Queen, Her Majesty the Queen, shut them down. Shut down Tony's ass, shut down Dara's ass today. Former drivers, current warriors. Former drivers, current warriors. I like that, Jimmy. Unification. And number one, solid driver's voice is Dara's worst nightmare on Uber Street. It is. It really is. It really is, right? That's why we all work together. I mean, that's why the guy comes onto the show, because he knows, hey, I'm going to make a live feed congratulating these dudes. He checks in with us because you know what he said? There's something that stands out, which this gentleman said, right? The guy that brought the lawsuit, the guy that won this lawsuit today in the highest court of the land. He said, we did this together. Didn't say, oh, I did this on my own. No, he did this for all of us. That's why he deserves like the gig worker warrior award of 2021, right? So the UK Supreme Court in a unanimous decision issued Friday upheld lower court, right? We said that. Well, Friday's decision directly applies only to the former Uber drivers involved. Labour activists say it sets a potential precedent for others in the UK who work for companies in the gig economy, where apps distribute individual tasks to a pool of people that the app makers regard as independent contractors. Uber said that the decision doesn't automatically reclassify all of its UK drivers and that it is unrelated to its Uber Eats food delivery business. The company said that since the case was filed, it has added driver benefits such as insurance for sickness inquiry. Only when you are forced to do it, Uber, only when you have the gun on your head. And this is the gentleman that we had on the show earlier on. And I truly, truly hope that other states, other counties, other countries, other cities learn from this, right? I hope that it inspires other drivers, right? Like James Farrar and Yassim Aslam, that it inspires people in Rio de Janeiro, in Cape Town, South Africa, in Osaka, Japan, in Berlin, Germany, in Nairobi, Kenya, right? In Albuquerque, New Mexico, in Miami, Florida. I hope it inspires you, this David and Goliath story. I hope it inspires you to take on the big, big boys. I mean, literally, Dan and I, we could take them on, right? Garcia Bui in the house. Robin Reneth and Scott Tucker, also heroes. They're taking them on in Vegas, right? Think of all the real perks, benefits Uber could have contributed to drivers across the US and worldwide, right, Robin? If they had not wasted millions on Proposition 22, right? They had $208 million that they literally pissed in the wind, right? $208 million, right? That they literally, $208 million. That's what they did. Seriously, what they did, right? They go, oh, you know what? We got $208 million, man. You know what? We can just piss it down the drain and fight for rights. That's what they did. That money should have gone. That money should have gone to drivers. Should have gone. All right, listen, I'm coming up here to, I think I can do this. Almost at the 1:30, mark. And then is that Ray Branch, new number. Awesome, cool. Ray Branch, I got it, buddy. I got your new number. Cool, thank you. Got a 501 code. Sounds like Arkansas. Is that Arkansas? Is that Little Rock 501? I think it is. I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then I have a mammoth project to carry out from today till tomorrow, and then another massive project till Tuesday. Got to get 15,000 COVID tests ready for different companies, sports people, right? And we pick up those boxes and stickers and Dan the driving man, go, 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 go. Thanks to you, we have hope. Listen, thanks to channels, thanks to people like James Farrar, thanks to people like Yasin Aslam, who are not afraid. Like, I'm not afraid to take on the Goliath. They were not afraid for 6 years. They went through hell and back, right? Dan's not afraid to call these people out, right? We have a lot of true warriors in this. And I'm not WO, I'm talking WA, warriors, fighters that are standing up and say, enough, no, enough of these shenanigans, Uber. Tony West, doesn't go this way. Dara Koshashawi, slap down, right? Gig workers win. There we go. Highest court of the land. We're on 37. I know we can pump it up to 40. As Dustin would say, smack that like button. Let's get it up to 40. Be super. I'm gonna hang in till it gets up to 40. Not gonna bail out before it gets to 40. Right? And it's good. It's really, really good. Dan and I gave the whether he calls you or not, or whether he emails you or not, but I gave the guy from Bloomberg News. I had like a 40-minute interview with Bloomberg. I passed on your credentials. I told him that you knew a ton about the EV industry, and I said you'd be a really, really good source. We got 40 people in the house. I welcome you all. Happy Friday. Is it Friday? It is Friday, right? Happy Friday. Wear those masks. You don't always have to wear these things, these hand condoms. You don't have to wear these hand condoms, but some people do while they're driving, right? Holding steering. You see the typical driver out there. All right, ready. Just picked up my passengers. I'll get you there in 3 minutes, lady. We there. Get out. Pay me. Give me a good tip. Bye-bye. Next. Anyway, that's my little pandemic impersonation of driving with the hand condom. So Dara is to receive 100 million. Where did you get that from, dude? Where did you hear that Dara is to receive $100 million bonus? I want that link. Something very, very wrong about that. All Adventure says, you know what Uber is thinking? Should have spent 200 million to brainwash the UK public. You're on the money, my friend. They sort of like, oh gosh, we spent 200 million in California. We won that. Why didn't we do this in the UK? Well, I think the difference between California and the UK is that I don't think that you can really go out in London and buy yourself the vote. Maybe I'm wrong, right? Can you just invent a Proposition 22 and flood the UK TVs with like Uber-like ads? I don't think it's going to sit very well. I don't think that you would drum up 58% support like they did in California, right? Danan says, thanks to all of the hardworking drivers, be safe, stay alert, stay alive. Always make sure you know what those people are doing in your backseat. No shenanigans, no smoking, no drugs, no lines, no leaving trash in your car, right? Make sure they're wearing the mask, right? Because my buddy here said, hey, buddy, I need help. What happened here is they deactivated me. This is a San Diego driver. Hi, hon. We received feedback that you failed to comply with Lyft health safety guidelines. You were not wearing a mask during the ride. A rider was allowed to sit in the front seat. Please know that any future reports of health safety violations can result in a temporary suspension of your Lyft account, right? His answer was, I never let anyone sit in the front seat. I always wear double masks on all rides at all times, and I had and I have a car petition. Whoever accused of me doing such a thing, looking for legal action about that. Okay, so that was a great I'm just going to say you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Your response was great. His response was good. I have a petition. I don't let anybody in the front seat. Prove it. Lyft, prove it. Show me the photos. Rely on one rider. Now, unless that rider worked for Lyft and went undercover and found out that he really could make it into the front seat without a mask. I don't think that's the scenario. But that sounds like one false report, right? Thank God he did not get deactivated over that, because they can see the history. He's done so and so many thousand trips. He's always checked in with his mask. So that is probably a BS rider, fake, false report, right? Somebody that maybe did not want to pay. Chris says, the new blueprint to follow. Thank you, UK. Cindy Hilburn, thumbs up, thumbs up. Everybody thumbs up, thumbs up. Everybody thumbs up, thumbs up. There we go. It's Moose is in the house. He says, with this ruling in the UK, I wonder if the US Federal Pro Act will gain more traction. Well, I am pretty sure that other people, other drivers will be inspired by these drivers and file suits in their cities or countries. I hope that sets that off at least, right? That other people say, you know what? I can be a David and I can take on Goliath. All I need is a good attorney or lawyer, or they call them solicitor or barristers in the UK, right? And then gig workers can win. I can bring a victory in Brazil. I can bring a victory in Germany. I can bring a victory in Nevada. I can bring a victory in Florida. All it takes is a couple of gutsy, ballsy people to stand up, right? Robin says the public was brainwashed by Uber and Lyft on the Proposition 22. Completely and utterly brainwashed. That's the word. There's no other word to describe it. And you probably heard me use that word 100 times. I made a lot of videos about Proposition 22. The California residents were, as Robin says, they were brainwashed, right? Led to believe that we are true independent contractors, right? And they voted 58 to 42. David Garcia in the house. He is an Alto driver and he's doing well with Alto. You're still happy and you're still with him and you're still happy, right, David? Picking up. I'm sure Alto is making big inroads in LA. They started off with 30 vehicles. I'm sure by now they may have more than 30 vehicles. So you should feel honored, David. You're one of the pioneers that got in with Alto right in the beginning in LA, right? You're probably one of the first 35 drivers with Alto. Now they established in Texas. They're doing well in other, but they just broke into the California, LA market, right? David Garcia says, Alto drivers are employees, $15 to start, plus $5 bonus for airport rides, $250 bonus for any other rides, food and delivery. There we go. So you're getting your 15 minimum. They're supplying the car, right? They're supplying the car. Worldwide, no. Answer is no. Mr. World, they call me Mr. Worldwide, Mr. Worldwide. David Garcia says 7,000 applied, hired 27 to start, and you were one of those 27. That's awesome. It's awesome. Oh, and they pay the gas. So they're paying the car and the gas. You're getting a 15 minimum, and then you got all these bonuses that you can start working with. Whoop, 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 whoop. They are taking care of you, unlike Uber and Lyft. Dan says, remember to share this video live stream on your area's rideshare, delivery platforms, groups. Get the word out. Care and share, care and share, care and share, care and share. The more people that hear this story. We had this guy who won today. Hey, I had the guy that won the case in the UK in the highest court, the guy that the driver that took on Uber in London, this guy here in the picture came onto our show.
No way!
Yeah, and this, like, I'm telling everybody, just feel inspired by this one guy. It's like, you know, the classic David and Goliath story, right? And he started in 2015, so he's been fighting 6 years, and he got this victory.
Good for him! Woo!
Cool. Yeah, Cindy Hellburn says they were definitely brainwashed on Proposition 22, right? Because those ads were just running, and they hired those California actors that were supposed drivers. No, they weren't. And they were hired actors. Like, oh yeah, I work with Uber and Lyft, and I'm happy about being an independent contractor, and you need to vote for me. Share and care. Share and care. Gwen, sing it. Share and care. Share and care. Again, louder.
Share and care. Share and care.
There we go. So you got everyone participating. Because we need to get more of these warriors out there. Get up, stand up for your rights. Get up, stand up for your rights. Get up, stand up, take it to the fight. Dan says, takes number one to get through to us. God bless. God bless you as well. And I'm gonna leave on that note. I'm gonna leave on Dan's note. God bless you all. I appreciate you. It takes these type of stories to inspire other great stories. And this is like a ripple effect that's going to happen. Now, trust me on this. We're putting this in the universe. They showed us the way, right? And I want to quote, I think, one of his most powerful lines, the gentleman that was in here. And this is really what it's about. This is what it's about. And I'm going to modify this phrase so we can all say this out loud. So they said, the guys that started this and won, they said, we didn't give up and we were consistent. No matter what we went through, emotionally or physically or financially, we stood our ground. And now I'm going to modify that with their permission for all of us, for It's Moose, for Dan, for Slick Nick, for Robin, for All Adventures, for Sherelle, for Ray, for Lorenzo Davis. I'm going to modify this, and we're all going to say this together. I don't give up. I was consistent. No matter what I go through, emotionally or physically or financially, I stood my ground. Right? Again, all together now. I did not give up. I was consistent. No matter what I went through, emotionally or physically or financially, I stood my ground. And on that note, my friend, we put that out in the universe. Take that language. Nothing gets you down. Nothing gets Sherelle down. Nothing gets David down. Nothing gets Ray down. Nothing gets Dan down. Nothing gets It's Moose down. Nothing gets all the 40 plus people in this room down, because that is us. That's our DNA, right? That is how we roll. That's how I roll. That's how we teach our children, right? To not bully and manipulate and fake. We are the real deal, my friends. We are the real deal. We fight. We don't surrender. We stand up, and we go through a lot of emotional pain. We go through a lot of physical pain. We go through a lot of financial pain. But guess what we all have in common in this room? We never, ever give up. God bless you all. I love you. Thank you, and have a great day, everyone.